Hello, I'm Panic, and let me guide you through all the technical things about the Copycat video I did for Billie Eilish. At the very beginning, as always, let me run quickly through the details about the song. The entire song lasts for 204 seconds. So the first verse 23 seconds, second verse 15, pre-chorus 15, chorus 15. I colored them because they was reused later. Verse third 19 seconds, reuse, bridge 38 seconds, reuse, and a tiny outro reuse from the first verse. Then write down everything, and instead of animating 204 seconds, I had to animate 121. It was a lot. I have to admit, I didn't expect that to be so long, but well, it was definitely worth it, and I didn't went too ambitious about this one, but I wanted to keep it smooth. As I said on the video about why I used cuts, I wanted to have the whole story about it within the video. But let me guide you through all the technical things in this video. So at the very beginning we have this Billie Eilish Copycat, and this thing is working pretty simple. I have just this little light thing, which is clearly just a simple shape that's cutting these letters. So this shape is just rotating, swinging, and all the lyrics are switching behind. This was a pretty simple effect. Although there is a plug here because the video is not monetized by me but by the owner of the music, despite to that there is a cool frame by frame steam going there. I really wanted to do this. Okay, the next thing is this transition into the letters. There is nothing too different from the other of my videos, but what I changed is right now, if you will check my library, I actually created a couple of the templates, and how the templates are working is, if we can check for what's happening there, I'm gonna create a keyframe somewhere, F6, and I will put a peg on the left, and I will use the left template on this peg. And what's going to happen is just squash and stretch with a little bit of eases on it. So instead of doing everything frame by frame, I could just simply reuse my templates. And I thought it's a good idea to at least try. It certainly worked, and I'm so happy with the results. At some point I still did it frame by frame, and I will tell you about it where I will see it, but for things like this, there's nothing else than just my templates. You can also check what's happening there. I separated this one flare, which was on one simple layer, and I used the color override, okay, to pick just one color. So this one is picking the red color, and this one is picking that turquoise color, and with that I was cutting the letters, so that's why the letters are appearing on certain color. That was a smart move. That was a tricky actually to create it, but when it came out, I was super happy about it. There is a cool effect that I will create a tutorial about for my Patreon. I really wanted to check it out. Pretty cool flashing over the police car, which is pretty awesome, to be honest, and everything is obviously done, as you can see, frame by frame. Then is this transition and those tapes that are just flying by the camera, getting away. Nothing super special in there technically, just couple lyrics. Same here, couple lyrics switching, and this tiny little, really awesome in my opinion, animation of, let me start here, really awesome in my opinion, transition from the hand into the cat tail. I was super happy how it turns out, because fortunately I didn't make any like keyframes for this. I just draw it. As it is, frame by frame, and then I switched colors and it just simply worked. This is so insane that it just worked out. So I created this transition and I was super happy about it. That's it for the first verse. On the second verse, I reused this graphic that I created on the end of the first verse, and on the second verse I put it on just simple one layer. As you can see, it's just one layer over there, and I started to animate it frame by frame, as you can see here, with couple keyframes that are switching the positions to actually make this bounce here, because I animated this coin in one spot. If you will check it on the drawing view, this coin at this point is not bouncing at all, while on camera view it's bouncing because of those keyframes here that are repositioning here. And for this coin I really want to create another tutorial for my Patreon, because it's a cool effect to create, fairly simple I have to say. Silver dollar, pretty similar to the one I did for Billie Eilish Bury a Friend, pretty much the same effect with just couple frames that are switching from one to another. Please watch it if you want to check how I did this. So for this reason I had to do it frame by frame. As you can see how many exposures they are on the timeline, I couldn't reuse my templates at this point. And here, pretty cool fire, looped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames. Nothing super special, just 5 frames, and liquefying this fire straightforward as always. First try, liquefying into the glass of water, everything frame by frame, patiently draw there. And as you can see here on the letters, it's reused the same effect from my library. So liquefying this and Poison Rain, doing exactly the same frame by frame on this layer, if you can focus on that, and Poison Rain just in the very same technique, reusing my templates. So having those templates was a smart move. Here there are doors. Again, I reused the color override to cut from this yellow color to appear those actual letters when it's happening. So if I will unplug them, you can clearly see that they are not cutting from that yellow light. So that's why it's this color override that's cutting this into this shape. Again, doors, this part is drawn frame by frame entirely, opening doors, and I reused it to close the doors actually, but I changed the color of the doors. So I kind of reused it, but tweak it a little. Same here for the perfect and murder. I did it frame by frame entirely. Again, here, perfect murder. I love this effect. I'm so happy about this one. So then it's closing the doors. Okay, and at this point, I just wanted to reuse the doors for the take your aim. I don't belong. So a couple people asked me where is the I letter. It's there. I just reused the door to make the I letter. That's why I switched color from the red to yellow, and also don't is yellow. So I thought it will be obvious, but for some reason not for everyone. I don't belong to anyone but everybody, and there is a cool Easter egg when everybody turns into Mugging Panic, but it's barely visible because so many people are just following the lyrics and not looking at what's happening. So I did it smartly to just hide my name there. Mugging Panic knows my name, everybody I mean. Okay, so this is it for the second verse. Let's go to the pre-chorus. For the pre-chorus, I added cuts as I explained in the plot video. By the way, nothing super smart, super technically advanced here. And when this liquefying there is happening, it's clearly done frame by frame. Again, this is a smart use of just having fun and just going around with your skills. Because I have a 2D special effect background, I would love to use as many those liquefying smooth effects as I can. And in order to make this effect here, I have to put a parts of this character behind. As you can see, this layer is behind, while this layer is on the front, and the same thing's happening here. This part somewhere there is behind, while this on the front is disappear. So I had to split this effect on 2 layers. That was tough, but once I had this, I could liquefy it into the cut, and I could do the same here. At this point, it's exactly working in the same way. So as you can see, it's split into 2 layers, the one in front and the one on the back, frame by frame to liquefy the cut. Then it's this transition here, which came out very smoothly. Again, frame by frame with this transition here on the peg, liquefying into cut on the side position. This part here is also done frame by frame, because I couldn't reuse my library template because I would have to split all those layers, and it's just faster to make it frame by frame at this point. So it's a smart way to think about things, which way of doing certain parts will be faster or slower. That's very important. Okay, and now is the funny part. That was pretty tough transition to make when the characters are going from the side into the front pose. I really had a hard time doing it, to be honest. It's not so obvious, and well, fortunately it just came up from the first try, and I'm happy with the result. It's not super perfect, but I really like the result. Then this part here is build with a smart build with the face. I'm gonna show you how I created this. Let me open all the things here, and as you can see, I have deformations on upper lips, which are 2 of them, this one and this one. So I had 2 deformation on the upper lip. It's like splitted. This one is one part and this one is the second part. And then it's a lower lip, and everything is cutting each other. So I just simply connected those typography into the lips. Okay, you can see it clearly how it's working. And I cut it one after another using like weird connections between all the modules to just cut it and stay under the face. You can clearly say it's not perfect because the teeth right now are getting outside, but because it all is in yellow color, it's not visible. So I was good, and I didn't care that much about it. For the entire shape of the face, I created this little thing here that I could manipulate entire shape of the head and actually open the mouth away wider. And everything here inside of the teeth part was done frame by frame. As you can see on the drawing mode, it's done frame by frame within this setup here with deformers. So I simply could open the mouth, simply draw frame by frame animation on the layer within this setup, and I was ready to go. Then it's this little cute part here, which have tons of frame by frame just transition and just 2 frames at the very end, creating that speed effect, which I really love, taking from the anime kind of videos where those transition at the edge of the screen are really looking like this, like they are scratched, which adds a lot of impact to it. I also added impact as you can see this, it will be visible here on the mouth. It's quake effect again, and this quake effect is added under the camera. If you will check it here, and the values of the quake effect from nothing at this point to 0.2 quake, getting lower to nothing again. So just a simple use of quake effect to add a little more while the cat is going down. And that's it for the pre-chorus. Let's go for the actual chorus. I had this idea to just go with the cat down, but I wanted to make the cat falling, and I created for it a couple frames, so the cat was actually moving with the tail and hands and ears, just to make it more organic. I like how it turns out, and this animation looks pretty cool for me. I created a really long throat, supposed to be throat, where this Billie character, the second cat, is at the very bottom and the cat is just flying down. I kind of reused as I could my templates, but I also created a couple things separately on my own, because not everything can just work as I want if I don't have a straight lines everywhere. I have to tweak them a little. Then at the very end, where the minor comes up, this is pretty tricky to actually have this effect where everything is kind of floating, and in order to do it I use the mesh warp node. Let me show you how it looks like on just one, because it will be too crowdy. So I attached this mesh wrap to the shape of the throat, okay, and I adjusted it so while mesh warp is going up with the entire throat, the lyrics are staying in one spot, and that's why they are waving here, okay? And I did exactly the same thing for the left side, exactly the same thing. I actually reused it and flipped it, so I didn't do much more work. As you can see, it's just shifted up because those waves are in different positions. Okay, so before I reaches the end at the first file, I closed up everything, so I reused again the same with the Billie on the very bottom. That was a smart move from me. I'm really happy for how it turns out. Then I did this lyrics here. As you can see, a little bit of reuse for my templates, and also just a little bit of extra frame by frame at this point, because sometimes I feel like when I will do something frame by frame, it will be just faster. Then I switch the cut from this one here to the second one. I just reused almost everything. I just made the tail a little bit thinner with a little bit pointy end of it, and I changed the face, animated the ears, and that's pretty much it. That was just a smart reuse of what I had, to be honest. And I could back to the falling part. I almost reused everything, switched the glamour here, and I was able to continue with my splash. My splash is obviously drawn frame by frame here, everything patiently frame by frame, and then nothing else but the frame by frame tail at the very end on the same layer, with a little bit closing and opening eyes. Nothing super crazy with the lyrics, although I had to tweak them because I couldn't use that type of effect where one lyrics is closing and the next one is opening. So I had to adjust them frame by frame just with pegs. That's it for the chorus. Let's go to the third verse, which was also pretty fun to make. It's starting with a little bit of reuse, a little bit of my donation page. Again, because the video is copyrighted and the ads are from the owner of the music. Okay, so call me Calloused, a little bit of masking here, and I just simply reused those waves so I could just simply move them from up to down to animate them and make this tiny little effect. And for cold I created those glints, and you can actually see a couple layers of them. I did it frame by frame, it's super quick. I might create also a tutorial for it. That's a really cool effect, I like it so much. So then is this, then is the cut, you are italic, I'm in bold, nothing super special about it, but the tail actually had this deformer on it. So instead of animating it frame by frame, I just added a little bounce to the tail, so everything looked a little more organic. Moving forward, call me cocky, nothing super special, watch your tone. I like this special effect here, which is this wave motion, as you can see. Again, let's focus on that frame by frame. It's actually a looped animation of the flag, so I could play it forever, and I really do enjoyed this. This is a cool topic for another tutorial, to be honest. Alright, let me hide this deformer. Then after this is the love me cause you're just a clone. At this point I decided to make it frame by frame, as you can see, because there are so many letters appearing from different directions and it could be just too hard to animate them with pegs, so I decided to go straight forward and do it frame by frame because it's just faster. Let's go to the most technical part, I guess. Right after the mouth build, there's a cat that it's running. This cat is not built on one layer because I'm lazy and I want to do things other way. So there is a tiny little face that is moving, and I started with the face, then its ears over the cat's, then its left leg, and I simply draw frame by frame every single part of it. So if you will focus on this, it might look crazy, but it's what it is. This cat is running every single part on each separate layer. So once I had this, I could reuse it over and over, entire animation, and I decided to have those pine trees going from the front to the back, and I was thinking about how I can do it to make it look cool, and I decided to use, and this will looks also crazy if you can take a look here, this is a separate one single layer, okay, one single word, 2, and it have nothing but this 2 on the line art, on the color art, just the pine trees. So it's how it looks like. And because it have 3 pegs, and one of them, as you can see, it's this crazy 3D peg, which I could obviously do whatever I want. If I will open for you the perspective view, this will be crazy. You can literally see what is happening. So I have one layer, let me focus on those layers. I have one layer that is opening and closing the lyrics. Let's focus on this one for now. From here to here, I can even hide this, I believe, and you will not have this effect of opening and closing the layer. As you can see, we are looking at these 2, which is backwards right now. If I will open this layer, enable it, you can see it's opening. The layers are opening and then closing at the point where I want them to close. So that's what I created then. I just reused it over and over. It's the same effect, the same pegs, just reused, and shift in space, in time, and that's how I could just do it pretty fast. But obviously I had to draw every single pine tree, reused it, and oh my god, that was time consuming, but the result here was definitely worth it. I haven't done anything like this before, and the effect that I achieved here was satisfying me enough because it looks like the character is actually running in the forest, and I wanted to have this effect so badly. So everything is going for 38 seconds as I said, and then at the very end just the background switches color into Billie with eyes, and that's pretty much it. As I said on the very beginning, if I will open this layer one more time, everything have 204 seconds. I reused pre-choruses 3 times and choruses 3 times, then I reused outro from the first verse, that little part that I did, and that was it for this song. All the animation on the streams, which you will see in a second, took me about 24 hours, and I might add another 11 hours with planning everything and stitching everything together, creating files, cutting the files, and all the work for this video took around 35 hours. Tune up for the next 20 minutes or so with the worklapse of me creating this video, and well, the next video should be different than a lyrics one, but I will back to you with the lyric video very shortly. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy that you like my content and you are actually subscribing to my channel, and this is so satisfying to have you around. Have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for your support. Here you have the recordings in the very worklapse mode. Have a wonderful day. Cheers!